Have you ever felt the strange, almost sacred magic of a child visiting a mall Santa? That little grotto built of red velvet and fake snow feels like an embassy of the North Pole, a place where pure belief is the only currency that matters. I used to love that memory, but my friend Sam's experience tainted it forever, turning that warm, fuzzy memory into a cold, lifelong dread. Sam was 7 years old, and his Christmas was shaping up to be bleak. His father had been laid off from the steel mill a few months prior, and a heavy, quiet desperation had settled over their house like a shroud of gray snow. The festive decorations his mom put up seemed to mock the tense silence. Sam's only wish, whispered into his pillow every night, wasn't for a new toy truck or a video game. He just wanted his dad to be happy again. He wanted to hear him laugh, a real, booming laugh, not the short, sharp sighs that now punctuated their evenings. On a weekend just before Christmas, Sam's mom, in an effort to salvage some holiday spirit, took him to the oldest department store in the city, the one that was mostly empty now, smelling of dust and forgotten perfumes. The Santa's grotto was tucked away in a desolate corner of the toy department, with no line at all. This Santa was different from the jolly men on television. He was unnervingly thin, the plush red suit hanging off his bony frame like a flag on a windless day. His beard wasn't a fluffy artificial cloud, it was sparse yellow-white and looked disturbingly real. But it was his eyes that were truly wrong. They were a pale, washed-out gray like a winter sky right before a blizzard, and they held no warmth, no twinkle, only a flat, patient emptiness. Sam's mom gently pushed him forward. The man's voice was a dry rustle, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. "Come, child," he rasped. "Tell me what you desire." Sam hesitantly climbed onto his lap. The knees beneath the red fabric were sharp and bony. He mumbled his wish about his dad needing a new job, a good job, so he could be happy again. The Santa was silent for a long moment, so long that Sam thought he hadn't heard. The air grew cold. Then the man leaned in close, his breath smelling of cold earth and something metallic like old coins. His pale eyes seemed to see right through Sam. "Is that what you truly desire?" he whispered, his voice gaining a strange intensity. "Are you certain?" Terrified but resolute, Sam nodded fiercely. A smile stretched across the man's thin, bloodless lips, a discordant expression on his gaunt face. "As you wish," he said, "but all gifts require a trade." Sam didn't understand, but he didn't care. He had asked, and Santa had listened. The miracle happened 2 days later. Sam's father got a call out of the blue from a massive corporation for an executive position he wasn't even qualified for. They said a mutual associate had recommended him. The interview was a formality. The job, with a salary that was triple his old one, was his. That night, for the first time in months, the house was filled with laughter. His father swung him around, calling him his little good luck charm. Sam beamed, convinced that the thin, strange Santa was the real deal. But the trade had been made, and the payment was beginning. Sam's father became a whirlwind of success. He worked constantly, his phone always ringing. He was sharp, efficient, and utterly brilliant at his job. He smiled a lot now, but it was a new smile. It was a perfectly even, toothy smile that never quite reached his eyes. It was the smile of a predator or a politician. The warmth was gone. He lost interest in everything he used to love. Baseball, which he once lived for, now bored him. His favorite classic rock music was just noise. He became distant with Sam's mother, their conversations turning into little more than scheduling updates. He was like a beautifully crafted automaton, performing all the functions of a successful man, but with the soul scooped out. Sam started to get scared. He tried to tell his mom that Dad was different, that something was wrong behind his eyes. She'd just sigh and say he was under a lot of pressure, that Sam was being imaginative. On Christmas Eve, his father came home early, his arms laden with expensive, impersonal gifts. They sat by the fire, the perfect picture of a happy family. But Sam watched his father's face, that constant, placid smile, and felt a chill that the fire couldn't touch. His dad moved with an eerie grace. His voice was calm and measured, but his eyes were always looking slightly past them, as if focused on a point in a distant, colder world. Later that night, a strange, rhythmic noise woke Sam from his sleep. It was a low, monotone voice. His father's voice. Sam crept to his doorway and peered into the living room. His father was standing in front of the large bay window, his back to Sam, staring out into the dark, snow-covered yard. He was repeating a single phrase over and over in a voice devoid of all human inflection. "The asset is secure. The asset is secure. The asset is secure." Sam's blood ran cold. He wanted to run, but his feet were frozen to the floor. Suddenly, his father stopped speaking. Then, with a soft, wet crackle of bone, his head rotated a full 180 degrees to face Sam, while his body remained perfectly still, facing the window. His face wore that same perfect, empty smile. But his eyes were no longer their familiar warm brown. They were flat, pale, washed-out gray. Sam finally screamed. From that day on, he lived with a stranger. His father provided everything: money, stability, the appearance of a perfect life. But the man Sam had loved was gone, replaced by a successful, smiling shell. Years later, when Sam was a teenager, he went back to that old department store, driven by a morbid need to understand. The building was a hollowed-out ruin, scheduled for demolition. There was no trace of the toy department, no sign of the Velvet Grotto. It was as if it had never existed at all, a temporary embassy set up just for him, to facilitate a single, terrible transaction. Sam never celebrates Christmas now. He says that on the coldest nights, when the world is quiet, he can still feel the weight of that wish. He knows that some ancient, hungry things wear familiar, festive faces. They sit in the warm glow of holiday lights, waiting patiently for the desperate and the pure of heart. And the gifts they offer are real. But the trade they require is absolute, taking not your soul, but the very things that make it worth having in the first place, until all that is left is a cold, successful, smiling machine.